Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome to another Cinema Sickness review. Today we're going to be taking a look at a film that I've had on my shelf for far too long, and it's just been collecting so much dust, so I figured it was finally time to bust it out and take a peek at it. So we're going to be taking a look at 2007's Meet the Robinsons. Now this film's an interesting one because this was actually the first film that was ever released under Walt Disney Animation Studios' banner. Now, a lot of you guys may be familiar with that by today's standards. Now that's, Meet the Robinsons is actually the first film to be released under that banner, where they show a small clip from the Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse cartoon, which is obviously the first Mickey Mouse cartoon that incorporated sound. So this was the first one ever released under that banner, and that was right around the time that Disney's original contract with Pixar was expiring, so they opened up the animation studios, the Walt Disney Animation Studios, to kind of separate themselves from their work with Pixar. And Meet the Robinsons was actually a really, really fun, cool time. It basically focuses on a young orphan named Lewis, who we learn really early on in the film that he was given up for adoption as a baby, and right around the age of 13, he's gone on well over 124 adoption meetings with no luck or any hope of getting adopted by some new parents. So it isn't until early on in the film that, it just kind of changes a completely different pace. It goes from being, what you would think maybe being a coming-of-age kind of adoption tale about a lonely kid that's a geek, and it kind of just takes on this whole sort of time travel angle, which is really cool and was really unexpected, especially for me. So a kid named Wilbur Robinson comes back from the future, telling Lewis that the invention that he had just created, that he was entering into a science fair, that he had basically given up hope on of ever, getting to actually work. He's told by Wilbur that he needs to complete it because, the fate of the future and the whole timeline of upcoming events is going to be affected by this. So without giving too much away, that's really what, spins the whole story into, a ton of action. And it was really cool. Like I said, that whole kind of time travel twist kind of just knocked me on my butt because I didn't really see it coming, but this is a really, really well done animated film, and originally when it was released back in '07, I believe it was released in the digital 3D format, and I just had never seen it at the time. I just kind of passed over it, which was really weird for me because I'm a big, big supporter of Walt Disney and, of course, all the animated films, but this one just kind of got, stuck in the shuffle. I just, never got around to it. And then being a part of the Disney Movie Rewards Club, every year on your birthday, they kind of give you a small selection of DVDs or Blu-rays that they'll send to you for free. So I think this was like 2 birthdays ago, actually. Meet the Robinsons was one of my selections. So I selected it because it was a Blu-ray, and it was something that I was intrigued about, but it wasn't until this evening that I finally took a peek at it, and I'm really, really happy with the final results. The animation looks really, really slick and very well done, and it definitely separates itself from Pixar. Obviously this is CG animation, but, just the story and the humor in this is definitely separate from Pixar. And it's really interesting to hear because this film kind of was in limbo and being worked on for well over 4 years, and apparently when an early cut of the film was shown to chief executive officer over at Disney, who is John Lasseter. Many of you guys know as the director of Toy Story 1 and 2, A Bug's Life, Cars. So he was shown an early cut of the film, and he just had a lot of comments towards it. So a lot more work was put into it. Roughly about 60% of the film was entirely reshot and redid, which I found really interesting. So they took a lot of time in seeing what was wrong with this project and doing everything they could to turn it into a quality film that, is worthy of the Walt Disney Animation Studios title. So overall, this was a really fun film. I'm not really too sure how well it fared out financially in the box office, but it's certainly not a film that I think has stood the test of time, because although it was only released like 4 or 5 short years ago. It's definitely not an animated film that many people discuss out of Disney's CGI lineup. Of course, the Disney Animation Studios has gone on to continue producing more and more stuff. I mean, after Meet the Robinsons, they followed it up with such stuff as The Princess and the Frog, Bolt, and of course Tangled, and just recently this past summer with Winnie the Pooh. So I think, in my personal opinion, I think that Princess and the Frog, Tangled, and Winnie the Pooh are some really, really quality products, quality titles at that, but Bolt didn't really do a whole lot for me, but Meet the Robinsons was, I thought, a really, really cool debut for them, and it's definitely one to check out because, the story, while I could understand maybe some people thinking it's a little uneven because it kind of goes in a bunch of different directions unexpectedly, I think that's the charm of it, and I think that's where the true fun of this film really is found. So while you think you might have it figured out, it kind of just keeps you guessing, keeps taking you on a bunch of unique and fun turns, which, kind of makes it fun for the viewer. The animation is slick and, at the top of its game as what you can expect from any Disney production, especially in this day and age. And the overall message that they keep implementing in this film is really cool and really special. The whole message that they're kind of feeding on is this thing that they keep repeating in the film called keep moving forward. And when you watch the film, you'll understand, the whole relevance of that, but I really like how they ended the film. They actually ended the film with a quote that, by Disney fans, it's really familiar and a really important quote that's seen all over the Disney parks, and it's one of the most famous, one of the more famous quotes from Walt Disney himself. So it wasn't until that quote came up that I thought that was a really, really cool and special way to kind of tie in the whole keep moving forward message about bringing it home to, an important message that Walt Disney himself felt was important in the business and the company that he helped create. So overall, Meet the Robinsons is definitely a fun CG film that, although not Pixar, incorporated, it's, one straight from Walt Disney Animation Studios themselves, and it's definitely a special one to be seen. It's a shame that not many people talk about it, and it's funny that this seems to keep happening, because while this kind of has a bit of a science fiction-esque angle to it, and as did, obviously, Mars Needs Moms, Disney doesn't seem to be having much luck when they're going with these sci-fi angles in their animated films, which is a real shame, because like I said, Meet the Robinsons is a ton of fun, and Mars Needs Moms was another one of my favorite films of last year, so I hope that this upcoming March John Carter fares a lot better with audiences, because I think that film looks like a ton of fun. So I do hope that a lot more people get interested and intrigued by, the science fiction takes that Disney is trying to implement in some of their newer films. But overall, Meet the Robinsons is a great, fun film that shouldn't be overlooked. So definitely, the next time you're in the mood for a Disney flick, check out Meet the Robinsons. I highly doubt many of you guys would be disappointed. Well, that wraps up this Cinema Sickness review. I'll catch you guys in the next review. Thanks for tuning in.